Welcome back to News in Focus. Now, SAHUC has held its General Council meeting over the weekend in preparing or briefing the outcomes of high-level engagements with the Saudi Ministry of Hajj and Umrah. A major part of that discussion centered around the new Nusuk Hajj digital system, which forms the backbone of Saudi Arabia's future Hajj and Umrah services. Joining me now to take this discussion forward, I'd like to welcome SAHUC President Moaaz Casoo. Moaaz, always good having you on. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Brother Faraz, and to the listeners of Hilaal TV. I trust you're all doing well today.
Alhamdulillah, can't complain. Moaaz, we're going to touch on the General Council meeting shortly, but I want to touch on obviously this Nusuk system. It seems as if it's going full steam ahead with regards to South African Hujjaj planning for the next Hajj season.
Yes, 100%. Currently, South Africa is on the Nusuk Hajj system along with around 130 countries, and all systems go at this point in time. The Ministry of Hajj and Umrah are currently busy validating the pilgrims who have registered from South Africa. And across the world, they are doing the exact same thing for pilgrims who have registered on the Nusuk Hajj platform.
Moaaz, I know it's a question that has been asked to SAHUC quite a number of times. Is there still no involvement with SAHUC in terms of this Nusuk system? Is there no supposed communication that has come between yourself and the Saudi Hajj Ministry in a role that SAHUC would be playing with regards to future Hajj endeavors?
I think that's a very important question for us. We went to the Hajj conference, praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the public domain, we've heard people making comments that SAHUC has been summoned to the ministry in the past, etc. It's not true. We have official meetings with the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah. They still do recognize SAHUC as an entity, alhamdulillah. And one needs to ask the question that SAHUC went to attend the Hajj conference. And at the conference, we were having meetings with the Minister of Hajj, the Deputy Minister of Hajj, the Under Secretary of Ministry of Hajj and Umrah, the Director General, the advisor. We met with the Nusuk CEO. We met with the Director of Nusuk. We met with the Kidana Company CEO who looks after the Mina, Arafat, and Muzdalifah. And the Deputy Minister, as well as the Nusuk CEO, mentioned to us that we recognize SAHUC. And we believe you have a role to play on this Nusuk platform to transition the pilgrims onto this new platform. So despite what people are saying in the public domain, if a high-level entity like the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah does not recognize SAHUC, do you think for one moment they would have meetings with us? I don't think so. I mean, you've seen and you've heard of several operators that were in the kingdom to attend this conference. How come none of them had meetings with the high-level hierarchy of the ministry? So those are questions we need to ask ourselves. And you take, for example, in South Africa, can you contact Durko and set up a meeting with Mr. Ronald Lamola or Mr. Zain Dengo? It's not that simple. Only if you are a recognized individual would you have formal meetings. And the exact same thing with SAHUC. Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the support of our South African Muslim community, the Ministry of Hajj still recognizes SAHUC, and they still want us to play a role under this new Nusuk Hajj model, which we will, inshallah, be planning to do so for the benefit of the pilgrims.
So my understanding with regards to this, Moaaz, is that if the Saudi Hajj Ministry, which is, of course, the highest authority within the land in terms of the logistics of Hajj, is recognizing SAHUC, does that mean, and of course, I would like to understand this, and I'm sure the viewer would like to understand this, that with this being said, that come the 2026 Hajj season, that SAHUC could potentially still be in the kingdom to assist Hujjaj from South Africa?
Yes and no. So SAHUC would be there to assist the Hujjaj, inshallah, as guides. So remember, the new process under Nusuk Hajj is any individual who has performed Hajj in the past and is involved in the Hajj industry. For example, an alim, for example, a mission worker of the past, if he or she would like to register to be a guide, to be a mission worker, nothing stopped that individual from becoming a guide to assist the pilgrims during Hajj. individuals can only register to become guides, not entities. So people from within SAHUC, people within the voluntary structures, people from within the mission of SAHUC in the past can now register to become guides to serve the guests of Allah. It will be then up to the Saudi service provider companies to select which guides they prefer utilizing to serve the pilgrims from South Africa. So that number can be astronomical, it can be a small number. We're not too sure how many people will register to become guides. But once you become a guide, all your expenses are now being taken care of by the Saudi service provider company. There is no investment required by an individual to become a guide. You don't need to outlay any money. You don't need to secure any housing, any transportation, any flights. All of this cost will now be borne by the Saudi service provider company. They will take care of the entire process. So there is no longer going to be a travel operator from South Africa or a SAHUC from South Africa that's now going to manage this process in terms of administration, in terms of securing housing, in terms of securing flights, transportation, your meals. All of the logistics, all of the admin is now going to be taken care by the Saudi service provider. The only thing a South African individual or an entity can do is market the packages on behalf of the Saudi service provider company. Any individual in South Africa will not be allowed to collect money any longer on behalf of the pilgrims to pay to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Everything is going to be done on the Nusuk Hajj platform, which is online. Every pilgrim will either have to transfer funds to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which could take anything between 3 to 10 days, or you can utilize your credit card, depending on the limits that you have in your credit card, to pay for your packages online. You will no longer be paying any entity in South Africa any money for Hajj going forward.
Okay.
And I just want to reiterate once again, anybody, including yourself, Faraz, if you have been for Hajj before, you can apply to be a guide. So within SAHUC, you're going to have individuals that may apply to be guides. At this point in time, we'll have to wait and see how many individuals, how many mission workers do apply to become guides. And from there, inshallah, they will then link up with Saudi service provider companies to serve the guests of Allah.
Okay.
Inshallah.
One final question before we go to the break, Moaaz. So obviously, since SAHUC has came in over 20 years ago to assist with Hajj from the country, the process was, of course, you pay a deposit or some sort of a registration fee. Then all the money would go to SAHUC or it would go to a service provider, whether it's Khidmat al-Awam, whether it's now, of course, known as TWF or Yusra Travel. So my understanding is everything, the payment will go through the Nusuk, if I stand to be corrected.
100%. You will no longer pay any entity in this country any money for Hajj. It's as simple as that.
And of course, we're going to be discussing the pricing shortly after the break. But of course, Moaaz, this really changes quite a lot, doesn't it? Because I guess South Africans, especially those performing Hajj, would have gotten used to, going through SAHUC. So I do feel this is going to be quite a massive change in terms of the way Hajj logistics is going to be handled.
I think if we look at a Nusuk application, let's look at a Nusuk Hajj application form. It is very similar in terms of someone registering on a SAHUC portal. Everything is electronic. When you are going in the past with SAHUC, you have to register on the SAHUC website, provide all your details. Accreditation is to take place on an electronic platform. Nusuk is almost identical. Everything is online. So I think the transition is not going to be so difficult for our people to understand and to adapt because everything is electronic. The challenge is going to come now when you need to transfer your funds. And the reason being is in the past, pilgrims had ample time or time was provided by the travel operators to allow pilgrims to pay their full package. Certain operators allowed 1 month, certain operators allowed 2 months. Certain operators even went up to 3 months or more to make allowance and provision for the pilgrims who got accredited. Going forward, that has changed. And I think that is going to be a mindset change for our pilgrims in South Africa. So the system is amazing. It is really simple. It's really easy. People can come to our offices. We will assist them. We will guide them. It is a very simple process. we have shared the manual of exactly how to operate from Nusuk for the pilgrims to make it easy for them to register and to apply online. The biggest challenge you're going to find is now you're going to have to pay your money upfront. For example, if the Saudi service provider has an economy package for 100,000 rand per person, and you're a couple, you're going to have to transfer 200,000 rand upfront before the date of accreditation starts. If you don't have your money in your digital wallet online on the Nusuk website, you cannot be eligible for accreditation. And that is going to be the mindset change. Whereas in the past, you get accreditation first, you view the packages, and then you transfer the money to a South African operator. Now, going forward, you first make the full payment upfront based on the packages that you view online that is suitable for your financial capacity. Thereafter, the ministry will give you around 3 weeks to a month to load money into your wallet. Then on the 1st of Shaban, this is a tentative date, the ministry will start accreditation, which will be based on first come, first served basis of fastest fingers. Individuals will be given a date and a time by which you need to log on. Your money will be in your card, and you will then go and select it to proceed. And it will be based on a first time, first served basis, provided you have the full amount of money based on the package that you have selected in your card.
Moaaz, I have to stop you there because we have to go to a break. After this, I will continue my conversation with Moaaz Casoo, the South African Hajj and Umrah Council President. We're going to be discussing on the meeting that they had over this weekend. Do stay tuned. Welcome back to News in Focus. I'm still in conversation with Moaaz Casoo, the president of SAHUC. Again, shukran so much for staying with us, Moaaz. Moaaz, I guess obviously this the meeting that was held over this weekend comes at a time, of course, where, as you mentioned, high-level engagements that occurred between the Saudi Hajj and Umrah Council. I think one of the key areas of discussion that has been here is that, how are South Africans going to be assisted during, the Hajj, whether it's in Mina, whether it's in Arafah, because one would say for the last 20 to 25 years, and we can only speak as recent as that, it's become really a sense of comfort, a sense of convenience for many of the South Africans that have attended Hajj and Umrah during that period of time. For those who are wanting to go, and of course know now that SAHUC may not play as big a role as it has played before, how will this proceed in terms of the convenience that many South Africans have experienced over those 2 decades?
I think first and foremost, one needs to understand and appreciate you are the guest of Allah. That's the most important thing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of his guests. SAHUC, travel operator, we are merely facilitators. We are there to help and guide. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of you. No matter what anybody tells you, believe me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of you. So don't worry about how things are going to be, what it's going to look like. There may be challenges. You have to go through a challenge. When you go for Hajj, it is a test. So you will have challenges. Yes, it's not going to be the same as what it was before. We make dua, it is better than what it was before. That's important for everyone to understand. That is a dua we should be making. Change is always difficult for people, and it's how we adapt to change which is important. So yes, there's going to be some challenges, there's going to be some new challenges that people may face, but remember, you probably are going to be a first-time pilgrim that has not been for Hajj. You can only hear what has happened in the past. You're going to make your own Hajj, and you're going to value what you're going to view in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the first time yourself. Yes, for the repeat pilgrims who have gone before, it will be different for them because they are accustomed to different methods of going, whether they went with SAHUC, whether they went Mujamila. It depends on what type of visas they went before. So for them, they can do a comparison. But for the person who is going for the first time, I think inshallah everything will be fine. One needs to remember that despite being on the Nusuk platform, we will be allowed guides from South Africa. That is your spiritual guide, which is most important. And there will be a certain number of mission workers that will be there on the ground to assist you, depending on how many pilgrims sign in with the different service providers. So the service providers in Saudi will have an allocation. For example, for every 50 pilgrims, or for every 80 pilgrims, or for every 100 pilgrims, they will select 1 or 2 guides from South Africa. Those guides will have to market the service provider company packages here in South Africa. Those guides will have to provide awareness programs, spiritual guidance, teach and empower the people about Hajj from South Africa until they get into the kingdom to perform Hajj and back for the return. The service provider companies will have different packages in terms of economy, premium, luxury. Remember, the Nusuk model is based differently compared to what we had in the past in terms of packages. However, each of the service providers are making allowance to provide the package to suit your pilgrim, so they can give you a longer period package. The challenge that people need to understand that the norm in Nusuk is between 10 days to 21 days, which is the packages that they would provide. If you want a package outside the 21 days, the Saudi service provider can facilitate it for you. However, they will bear the risk because you're going to tell them as a guide that we believe so many pilgrims can go for 6 weeks, so many pilgrims can go for 5 weeks. They will then honor your guidance in terms of what you advise them. They will outlay the cash and take the risk and hoping that the pilgrims will select those packages. But the very important thing for our pilgrims to understand, even if we design a package specifically for our requirements, for our pilgrims in South Africa, and let's say it is the cheapest package worldwide, for example, on Nusuk, when the system goes live, all the Saudi service providers have to advertise their package on a global platform. That means, for example, let's say worldwide, all the packages are 100,000 Rand a person worldwide. And we developed for South Africa a package for 80,000 Rand. When the packages go online, anyone from around the world, whether you're the UK, whether you're the US, whether you're from Russia, you can select a South African package.
Moaaz?
And likewise, if I follow a mufti from another country, and if I want to select that package because I've got the wealth, I'm allowed to select that package.
Moaaz?
So those are the changes that people need to get accustomed to. So it doesn't mean we design a package for South Africa. It's only for us. Anyone in the world can select.
Moaaz, I've got 2 minutes per the questions I'm going to ask, and I have to get them in. The first one, has there been discussions with regards to affordable Hajj? That's, of course, the big question that many South Africans are asking. Can they get affordable Hajj? Was that as part of the discussions with the Saudi Hajj Ministry?
Yes, I think we've all, even the travel operators, everyone has asked those questions. And like I said, the SPC can develop the package for you. But once it goes on a global portal, anyone from any country can select it. So they can't hold that package only for South Africa. And that is the key thing people need to understand. When the system goes open for accreditation, you have your money in your wallet. It's going to become fast as fingers to select the packages that are available. Remember, like we have a quota, the service provider companies in Saudi also have a quota allocation. So they also will have different packages for different quota allocations, but anyone in the world can select a package which they design because they are not selling only for South Africa. They're selling it, yes, they develop it for you, but when it goes on a global portal, anyone can buy it. And that is the challenge where we may face if we don't select our packages quick enough when it goes online on the portal.
Okay. One final question, Moaaz. As mentioned in the statement over the weekend, post the meeting, there still is matters pending. One of them, of course, being the non-refundable Hajj registration fee. A lot of the comment, when we had a previous interview a few months ago, a lot of the comments were, well, SAHUC needs to make a plan, or SAHUC needs to find a way to go ahead and refund the registration fees. Is that a discussion that is still going underway, or how close or how far are some of those who had paid the registration fee potentially could be getting back their refund?
Yes, I think the important thing one needs to understand, it's a non-refundable registration fee. We've consulted ulama bodies, we've consulted legal teams, we've got feedback. We are now discussing it, deliberating it internally. One needs to understand we are referring to the registration fee, not the accreditation fee. For example, pilgrims have registered 2009, 2015, 2016. Some of them have already been accredited through the system, right? We've already expensed their money, if you want to take it for a better word. However, they've not gone for Hajj for whatever reasons. They know best why they haven't gone for Hajj. With the registration fee, we don't have any other income in the organization besides registration and accreditation. All right? Accreditation fees are only paid when a person gets accredited. But the registration fees are utilized for the running of the organization. So when you register, each applicant had to sign on the website, tick the box that I confirm, I reaffirm, I understand the terms and conditions. It was in red, in black and bold. This is a non-refundable fee, number one. Number two, we got to incur costs. We got staff that we had to pay. We had offices we had to rent. We had IT systems to protect people's information, to have a registration system, to have an accreditation system, to have a ticketing system, to have an operator portal, to have the full accreditation that goes through telephone systems. You have all of these costs that are incurred and brought by the organization. So that money has been expensed to a certain extent, yes. Now what we are deciding as an organization is we have a couple of pending matters within SAHUC. Once those matters are resolved, inshallah, we will review the situation and see if we have the courtesy to provide any remuneration back to the pilgrims. We don't have to provide because it was non-refundable. However, this is a decision which the council can take and make at a later stage to say, inshallah, we will provide X amount back to the pilgrims or not. Take, for example, your son or your daughter goes to a university in South Africa. When they apply after matric, they have to pay.
Sorry, Maf, we have just run out of time. Unfortunately, we have to stop it there. But always good having you on, Moaaz. Absolute pleasure. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah for the opportunity. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That's Moaaz Casoo, the president of the South African Hajj and Umrah Council. That's all we have for you here on the News in Focus. If you've missed today's episode, be sure to find it on our YouTube channel. From myself, for Hospital, and the rest of the team in Johannesburg. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.